Good evening, Winthrop, and welcome to election night coverage here on Winthrop Community Access Television. So glad you could join us. It's an exciting day here in Winthrop. Welcome to our coverage. We're going to share with you the results of our municipal election shortly. Before we get to that, though, I'd like to just introduce myself real fast. I'm Eric Gaynor, and
I'm Christian Buonopane.
And on Zoom, coming to us from an undisclosed remote location.
I think we can tell them where I'm from right now.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I'm John Macero, and I am down in Hilton Head. As you all know, my wife and I retired a few years ago, and so we come down here for the winter. But I'm really excited tonight to be here to talk with Eric and Christian beforehand about the election, and then to get the results in, and so that we can talk about those, analyze those results, and see where Winthrop moves forward. I think that's important to see. So before we get into all that stuff today, you guys voted today. I actually voted this past week absentee ballot, so I'm assuming my ballot made it. We did mail it. So both my wife and I, so that's good.
And people can still vote.
Can you talk a little about what the experience was today?
Well, yeah, before that, just in case people are tuning in right now,
the
the polls are still open.
Yes,
okay.
Till 8 o'clock. Mm-hmm.
Yep, so you still have 20 minutes. So if you forgot and you're just tuning in right now, you have time. You can get down there easy.
Right, and the thing to remember, folks, on this too, is that even if you're in line at 8 o'clock,
Yep.
and you're still in line, it doesn't matter. You will get to vote as long as you are in line by 8 o'clock. So if you're watching this and you go, oh, I forgot to vote, get down there now and let's tell them where they can go.
So every precinct 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6, you'll be at the high school, the new high school. And if you're in precinct 4, you'll be voting at Golden Drive at O'Connell Hall, I believe.
Yes, on Golden Drive. So that's where you can go if you haven't voted yet. But if you have, we're going to start talking just about what's been happening so far. And it does seem like turnout has been strong.
Pretty high, yeah. So I was there at around 2 o'clock, and there was a line. And I want to say when I voted then, there were around 400 ballots cast for precinct 5. And then I have numbers from at 4 o'clock p.m. for, again, precinct 5, there were almost 700 ballots cast. And that same
And
time,
that was at what time again?
That was at
that
4:15.
So at that time there was still 3 hours and 45 minutes left, and you were already over 700.
Yes, and precinct 2, I want to say, was almost, give or take, 700 ballots cast. Yes, or excuse me, 600 at 4:15. Yeah.
Okay, same time frame. So that's great. So I mean, it sounds to me like Winthrop may have a higher vote turnout this election as opposed to 2 years ago, Eric?
It's so hard to say, John. Sorry that I know, because we can look at 2 years ago, and here's the thing, right? 2 years ago, it was a different type of race, right? You had, not a lot of contested. There was the fire station. You remember that? Correct. 2 years ago?
Yes, it was big.
That was big, right? That was big. So that may have driven some of the votes. But in terms of positions, 2 years ago, there was only, if I recall, really councilor at large. I think was the only.
I think that was, because I believe the council
That
president
is
was
right.
unopposed.
You are right.
And the precincts were also.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think maybe housing authority was also contested. So
I don't know if school committee was contested.
It wasn't.
It was not.
It was not.
Okay.
And so if I go back 4 years ago, where there was, because 2 years ago, there was no council president race, right?
Right.
That's right. That race was unopposed.
Right. So if I go back 2 years ago, but if we're looking at numbers, I guess that's the question you're asking. 2 years ago, the numbers were actually, it looks like, a bit higher than it was 4 years ago, and that might be due to the firehouse vote.
I think the
That
vice
or the at-large.
And I think that
Because there was a
the
big
at-large race was
There was a
definitely
big
a big
race
race,
at the
too.
at-large 2 years ago, if you recall. But what is interesting is that 2-5, Precinct 3, and those Precinct 3 should be also I would say a high turnout, because you have a race on 2, 5, and 3 for the councilor. Precinct 1, you do not have a race, as Pat Costigan is running unopposed, and I believe we could probably, we're not CNN, but I think we could declare Pat Costigan the winner
Yes.
of
I've got a bell
Precinct
there
1.
every time we declare a winner, John.
There you go. There you go. So congratulations to Pat. I know that Pat this year was appointed by the council, so this is his now first time being officially elected by his residents tonight. So congratulations to Pat Costigan. And if you have that bell, why don't we just ring the bell here also we do know that we have 3 school committee candidates, and there are 3 positions. So these 3 positions will be filled as of 8 o'clock tonight. And those are Caitlin Burrows, Shannon Kubik, and Leslie Sturm Darcy. So congratulations to the 3 of you. So welcome to being officially elected as of tonight, and thank you for doing your service. So we appreciate that.
Indeed. Congratulations to, if I could just say this, congratulations to everybody who's on the ballot. Let's before we get into, in a little bit, we'll have the results, but I do think it's important to acknowledge that if you're going to put your name on a ballot and run a campaign, I mean, kudos to you.
I agree. I mean, from the beginning, going around, getting support, then getting signatures, then actually campaigning, and then creating your platform, your issues, working on campaigning more, getting support and endorsements. It's a task, and I think that everyone should be commended for that. I agree. And
thank you to those people who have offered to step up, right?
Because you're basically volunteering to serve the town, and that's an honorable thing to do. Absolutely.
Right.
And what's different is, it's funny. I look back when I ran for a position, probably back in '87. It was mostly about you're out there campaigning and all that. Now today, you're also not only out there knocking on doors and campaigning, but you're also online.
Right.
And you're constant. So it's a constant 24 hours. And so for these folks, that's a big commitment, and much appreciative to
their willingness to serve, John. Yeah, their dedication to the town, and not to get into any sort of my opinion or anything like that. But I got to say, even if people might share a different opinion than I do, I still respect the fact that, like you said, Christian, that they're willing to serve their town.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And I believe that they have maybe the same good intentions, just a different way to getting there.
And I
right?
think that the willingness to serve is the most admirable thing at the end of the day. It's not your ideas or what you want to do. It's your desire to give back.
Exactly.
Right, and that's what makes us who we are. This is, we have the right to run. We have the right to vote. Thank goodness, and people have the right to choose. And so today is a clear example of that. We're going to witness what those choices are. But to your point, Eric, thank you. Whether you win or lose, it is much appreciative that you stood up and took that risk and advocated for your beliefs for this town. Because my gut is tonight is that there are going to be some close races. So you had people that were supporting you on either way. So
I will say, John, too, I think also a good thing is for the town council anyways, every position is contested. Now, I'm sure if you're an incumbent, you probably wouldn't want that, but I think it's for the good of our town. I think I think it's good for everybody, even if you are an incumbent, to be challenged, to be, to have the opportunity to debate and present your platform. I think it's good. I think it's great for voters. I think it's good for just our civic dialogue. It's great. So I have to say, the last few elections, there hasn't been a lot of contested races.
Absolutely.
So that's why this year might seem a little intense.
Definitely, but I remember growing up when I was younger and first getting into this. I remember seeing, every single election from like 2013, usually excluding obviously the council president, there would kind of be every precinct councilor would just run unopposed, and that's, who would get elected. And so I think now where we're seeing, kind of like Eric said, just being able to have that debate and almost like, well, you were in office, did you do a good job, or do we agree what you did? Because at the end of the day, you're elected to do what your constituents want you to do, and so it's kind of a check on that, and I think that's a very good thing.
So, Christian, you had an opportunity to interview some of the candidates. Talk to us about that experience you had.
Yeah, so it was really neat. I've always kind of liked WCAT, obviously. I mean, as you guys know, my grandfather was kind of involved with that too, so that was a little bit of inspiration.
Well, can we just mention that I'm sure your grandfather's Ron Becchia, for those that don't know. And I feel like for years, Ron was here on election night. This is Ron's show. And so I love the fact that you're sort of continuing that Vecchia legacy.
Yes.
And I'm sure he's very proud,
Yes,
too.
he is very happy.
And I'm sure he's watching, because he's not watching for you and I, Eric. He's watching for Christian. Let's put it that. Let's just make it straight here.
Yes.
But yeah, so talk a little about, Christian, that experience for yourself.
Yes, it was really neat. Again, I've always liked WCAT. I've always watched like meetings and stuff on YouTube, and I've liked my grandfather and even other shows. I remember you, John, have done things before. And so it was just, I was home for the summer and I wanted to do something. Obviously, this election and just really all the town issues over the past couple of years have been kind of, coming to the surface. And I figured it would be a good way to kind of get to know each candidate without making it too political. Because I even said the goal of the show, it was questions with the candidates, was not to get to know every single aspect of your platform, but more so who you are and what inspires you to run. But again, it was the emphasis on the personal thing, which I really liked. So I reached out to as many of the candidates that I could have. Again, I'm back at school right now, so I didn't get to interview everybody just because some people hadn't pulled papers or some people couldn't over the summer. But the ones that did, and even the ones that didn't, it was really just a great experience. I sent them, the questions. I came up with what I thought were pretty straightforward, again, focused on you, the candidate questions. And they came into the studio and we did it, and I really liked it. And I think...
Yeah, I really enjoyed watching those because I felt that was an example of allowing the candidate to show who they were. And I thought you allowed that to happen, Christian.
Exactly.
So
it was
for your first assignment, very good.
Thank you.
And we will tell your grandfather you get an A.
Thank you very much.
That. So it was a nice job on that assignment.
Thank you.
And where are you currently right now for at school?
So I go to Holy Cross in Worcester. It's about an hour away, which is why I was able to come back so easily today. And I'm a junior, and I double major in accounting and political science. So
let's go accounting.
Oh boy, look at this.
You got two accountants here, John.
I know, it's crazy. Well, that's great. And I'm thinking, and you don't have to make any announcement tonight, Christian, but I'm certainly sure that at some point you won't be on this show because you'll probably be out there knocking on doors and running as well for the town of Winthrop.
The probability of that eventually one day is pretty high.
You all heard that
John,
first.
why are you putting Christian on the spot like that?
Listen, breaking news. We always like breaking news. No, thank you, Christian.
Of course, yeah.
So, Eric, how was your experience today when you went to the polls and stuff?
Well, I went super early because I was teaching all day. I was there like as soon as the polls opened, pretty much, and so at that time it wasn't super busy, so I can't have anything to judge off of that. But what I will say, what I'm incredibly curious about here is what is this election about, right? Is this a referendum on the MBTA 3A communities? Is that what this is? Or does it matter, the candidate and their personal qualities and their experience and their relationships and their service? I mean, how much of is it just a single issue, or are voters looking at this more holistically? That, I don't know about you two, but that's what I'm curious to find out.
And I think we'll see.
Well, and the Boston Globe was curious about that as well.
Yes, there was a Globe article. I think there were a couple, but there was one that was either published yesterday or the day before, basically covering the election. Well, not necessarily the election, but 3A in Winthrop, MBTA Communities Act, which obviously, as we've said, has played a huge part in town politics, town discussion, and we'll see tonight. But it basically discussed, like the grants. We've been hearing things on both sides about the grants, the pros and cons of accepting an MBTA compliance plan. And it kind of just went into that, talked about like Belle Isle Marsh flooding, because that's been one of like the areas that has been brought up, I guess, as a reason to comply, whether you agree with the zoning or not. that we have seen people down in Belle Isle Marsh on Morton Street, that area, who've been affected by flooding, and they're basically saying, if we, support 3A, we'll have access, or approve a 3A compliance plan, we will have access to these grants that could potentially help us, work on.
Right, because what is being stated is that if we're not, as of now, the state is not recognizing us whether we're being compliant or not, and so therefore, we're being told that because we're not, then we're not eligible for some of these grants. And I think that that's been another campaign part that has been talked about out there. And I know that the Globe kind of led with that as well. So it is interesting, Eric, because I think we will see, I think we may have a clearer picture tonight on the direction that Winthrop is going to go when it comes to the 3A.
Maybe not.
That's correct.
Because
we may or may not.
Because here's what we're going to look. So I'm going to be, crunching the numbers here as they come in. And I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this is the first time we've really had a slate, if you will, almost like a ticket, right?
Yes.
Pro 3A and those against 3A. It was almost like, okay, really like an old-fashioned ticket.
Yes, yeah.
And I don't think we've ever
Kind of like
really
a
had that.
two-party system here, but
Right. And so that's what we're going to be looking at. Could you have in maybe one of the precincts a Pro 3A candidate get in, and in another precinct somebody who's like that's going to be fascinating, I think.
I agree. I think it'll be very interesting to see if we have certain either Pro 3A candidates in certain precincts or anti 3A candidates in certain precincts, and kind of how that, I guess, spreads out and like which precinct to elect which candidate.
True, but what's happened though is we've had only 8 councilors currently because the councilor position, councilor precinct 2 was not filled. So tonight, all 9 councilor positions will be filled starting in January. So I do think that it will turn the tide on one side or the other.
One way or the other, right.
Right, because it's clear that either the no has to retain some seats and pick up some seats, or the people that are for 3A have to pick up some seats or retain, so it's
deadlocked.
And we will
Right.
see where it goes. I would say this though, I thought about this today. I think once we know who the precinct 2 candidate that has been elected, I would urge the council to appoint that person to come on, as of tomorrow for that position.
I agree.
Only because they've now been officially elected, and even though the folks that are being elected don't start until January, it's important to get that representation from precinct 2. So that's just my thoughts.
I agree, because again, the seat has been vacant. I'm not sure the exact time frame. I do know they tried to vote 2 candidates back in, I want to say, like the middle of June-ish. So, and again, I think it's been longer than that.
Right.
And I would agree that it's better to have someone come in now, because at least they've been elected. It's not like someone is already sitting there now and they're just going to be ousted, before their term ends in January. But I think having someone come in now would be good.
So just a couple of things before we continue. I know there's still 6 minutes left, folks. So if you haven't voted, get down there. I know it's the high schools in the main part of the town, and I think we can no longer. Actually, you said the new high school, but I think as we are starting to see that the old high school was already torn down, and we built the new high school. But now we are about, or if it has begun, the old middle school is now being demolished. So, and it's funny because Eric, you and I sat there 2 years ago with the president of the town council at the time, and they were pretty disappointed when that did not go through. But they went back, they restructured it, and they came forward, and then it was approved last April. And so we're happy that the fire station is now on its way, and the project has always begun. They've been working on it, but now you're going to start to see it. The community's going to really start to see it, just like they did with the high school when that was being built. And
it's exciting.
It's going to move fast.
It's going to look beautiful, by the way, too. I mean, we
Yes.
talk about, the practicality of having, one central station, but also aesthetically. I mean, I've seen the designs. It looks like it's a really nice building,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to enhance
And
the center.
and I want to applaud the committee on that because, being on a building committee, there's a lot of work you do, and you are kind of like unsung heroes. And that
Yes.
committee is working very hard to do what they need to do that's going to be best. And I'm looking forward to seeing the final product when it's completed. But it's going to take a while, but at least now they have started. They have begun. So.
Yeah, because this has been kind of, since I was a kid, a need that was discussed is that we do need a new fire station or some sort of public
That's
safety
right.
building. Because again, as much as we appreciate the charm of the fire station on Pauline Street, especially, it was designed for horses. And to see that still getting used today is kind of crazy. And obviously there is the one down by Twist and Shake on Shirley Street as well. But this is something that's obviously been long overdue.
All right, so before polls close, which will be in a few minutes here, I just wanted to give viewers understanding of how our show is going to work. I'm not trying to be rude if I'm on my phone, okay? It's not that I'm playing Candy Crush while the two of you are talking. I've got folks out there, WCAT's volunteers, that are at the polling locations, and they're down there now. And as soon as those results are posted, like that minute, they are going to be texting me that information, and I'm going to relay that to you. So our goal is to try to get these results out accurately and quickly.
It's great. People are watching. I can tell you people are watching. I just got a text, and I think it's a great question.
What?
I would have to confer with legal counsel, but if they did appoint somebody, if they did bring that person on now for Precinct 2, I'm being told that they would still have to wait until they officially in January
Sworn
are
in.
sworn in order to actually vote. So I appreciate that text, giving us that information. So thank you. All right, so let's talk about who's running in these roles tonight. So we have for president, town council president, we have our incumbent Jim Lettieri, who is running against the town council vice president Hannah Belcher. And so that race will be decided tonight. Right. We have two at large. Do you want to talk about who's the at large candidates? Either one? Go ahead.
So we have Kurt Millar, who's running against Celeste Ribeiro Hewitt. Those two are running for at large. And then we have.
Yep. Go ahead, Christian.
And then, as we said, Precinct 1 is Pat Costigan, who was appointed, and he's running unopposed. So, as we already called the election, congratulations to you, Pat. You are now elected into your seat. And then
Precinct 2?
So, Precinct 2, Eric.
Is we have Kim Dimes running against Michael Kinlan. That's currently an open seat.
That's correct.
In Precinct 3, it is currently occupied by Hannah Belcher, so that's going to be open. So that will be vacant because she chose not to run again for that precinct. And the two candidates in Precinct 3 are Betsy Shane and Joe Romano. And then we do not have a race in Precincts 4 or 6 because the town council precinct positions are a 4-year term. Right, so this is the odd year, the year for the odd
it's staggered.
precincts.
So in the next 2-year election, it will be 2, 4, and 6. And the reason that Precinct 2 is up for election this year is because it is an open seat that the council was not.
That's correct.
The vacancy was not.
But so
able to
it'll only
fulfill.
be 2 years.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
good
This
point.
Precinct 2 term will be 2 years, and
Good
then
point.
the full 4-year term will come up in the next election, town election.
And then the last precinct race we have for tonight is in Precinct 5, and that is Joe Aiello versus Paul Reardon.
And Joe Aiello is the incumbent. Right
Yes,
now, so.
yes. But we do have some other races too.
We do. Let's talk about Housing Authority.
Yeah, so Housing Authority is Aaron Barcelos against Peter Gill. Peter Gill is currently the incumbent, and that is his seat, and we'll see what happens with that.
Right. And then the library trustees, we have 3 that will be elected tonight, and there are 4 candidates.
Correct.
Eric, do you want to start, or Christian?
I'll help Christian.
Yes, so the 4 candidates running, there is Grace Kingsbury, Cynthia Hastings, Gillian Texera, and Bill Schmidt. And currently Gillian Texera is the sole incumbent that is up for re-election.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And then we also have 5 ballot questions.
Yeah, let's kind of just run through that real fast.
Yes.
The polls are closing. It is after 8 o'clock. And just to give those who are just joining us an update, as soon as the results come in, we will share them with you. Okay, so we're just waiting at this point. It will be a few more minutes, right? Because they need to, wrap things up. But the minute those results are posted at the polling locations, we have our volunteers down at each of the polling sites, and they will be reporting that information to us, and we will be sharing that with you, the viewer. But there is these 5 questions. Kristen, I don't know if you want to kind of
Yeah, so I can kind of give a very quick rundown, or at least what I was able to grasp. Some of them were kind of wordy, and I did hear from a lot of people that that's where they were kind of getting bogged down. Because I remember I had to wait almost 10 minutes to vote because people were basically stuck reading the questions. So the first one has to do with the abandonment clause, which would basically redefine what it constitutes to abandon your post as a town councilor, and it would also give the counselor who is abandoned kind of a chance to explain themselves, and then I believe the town council could either vote to consider the office abandoned and effectively remove that counselor, or vote to say it's not abandoned and that counselor would stay in their seat. Second question has to do with the council, how it appoints its vice president. So right now, I believe anyone can be voted on or nominated to become the council vice president, but the proposed amendment, if
From the council.
From the council, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Any councilor can
Yes.
nominate a person.
Yes, and so
another council.
correct, and that's how it currently works. But if question 2, their second question, were to pass, it would basically change that to where it's only the council president who's able to nominate someone who could be a vice president or the potential vice president. Then the next question has to do with how the town councilors are paid. So right now, from what I was able to understand, is that if the councilors want to increase their salary, an ordinance has to be set. And obviously, as far as I know, since its inception, that has never happened. The salaries have remained the same. And the amendment, again, if this question were to pass, would basically change that to where if there is a desire for a salary increase, that would have to go on the ballot. It says the council to
Right.
review and vote on compensation adjustments every 2 years prior to June 30th. And then this proposed increase, again, if they decide to do that, would be put on the ballot during the next town election.
So the council could turn around and say, this is what the pay should be, but then it would still go back to the voters.
Correct, the
to
voters
decide
would
if
have
it
to
is-
approve, yes. It says,
Approve
any
it,
proposed
yes.
increase must then be placed on the ballot at the next scheduled biennial election for approval or rejection by the voters. Yes.
Correct, okay.
Then the next question has to do with what constitutes, I believe, quorum, kind of rules with the council, or I think how council meetings are, I guess, advertised. Currently, the special meetings that the town council has, meeting or not regularly scheduled meeting every other Tuesday, has to be held at the call of the town council president or by any 4 or more members. And there has to be a written notice delivered in hand or placed to the business or residence of each member, in which contains a listing of items to be acted upon, basically just this kind of hand delivery. And I believe the amendment would make this easier. It says an emergency or a special meeting can be held by again, it's going to stay the same in the sense that either the council president or 4 or more, so at least 5 or 4 or more, councilors can call the meeting, but the meeting only has to be 48 weekday hours in advance, and I do not believe it has to still be hand delivered. Yeah, a copy of the said notice shall be posted on the town bulletin board in the town of Winthrop.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, that one confused me a little when I
Yeah.
was looking at it. I was not, so basically what we're saying is that they didn't have to get hand notices then any further.
I
Is
believe
that
so.
what
I think it, yes, because again, it stays the same in the sense that it's either the town council president or 4 or more members have to call the special meeting, but it just changes the way in which it's like posted for. And then the next
Got it.
question, yes, has to do, I really did not understand this one either. It's very similar to the first one in the sense that it talks about other meetings, but I believe it's basically the same as the previous question about holding emergency meetings.
Yes.
But it applies to all town, I believe, committees.
Boards,
So I think
committees,
like
yes.
the planning board, the zoning board, conservation.
Citizens finance.
Yes, any of those will basically follow the same pattern as the first question, where basically postings of this would change. But
Which
again,
that part does make sense to me, that if you're gonna, you make it uniform. If it's
I
gonna be
agree.
one way, it
Because
should
why
be
not?
the other way.
Right,
But
it's simpler and everything's the same.
But yeah, so those it'll be interesting to see how those come about. There's also, tonight I think in the state of Massachusetts there are 55 cities or towns having elections. Not everybody has elections in our communities during the fall. Some of them wait and do stuff in the spring because of their different types of charters. But obviously Winthrop is one. I know our neighboring communities, Boston has an election going on for their city council and school, just city council, I believe, and probably other various positions. Revere is having an election tonight. They have it on city council and school committee. What is interesting there, though, is that they have now reshifted their school committee to follow the same patterns that the city council does. So you would be voting for a school committee member from your precinct. And then you have 2 at-large school committee members, where at first in Revere, just like it is in Winthrop, all the school committee members
All
are
large.
technically at large.
Interesting.
There is Saugus is up again for their election. I know in Melrose there is a override vote
Yes.
tonight. It's a big override vote, so we're going to see how that turns out. And that's an interesting one because they did type of a pyramid where they have 3 separate questions, and we will see how that turns out. And if we get any information, we'll let people know. So there is quite a bit going on in our surrounding communities, and I think even nationally
Yes,
there
there
are some big races going on nationally as well.
Yeah.
So
It'll be cool. Obviously, New York City, there's
Okay.
a big race. Oh,
We are getting some results
so
in.
we
got some
not
results
hearing
here.
from Eric as much.
We
so
have
that
some
means he
results,
must be
John.
busy. Okay,
John.
Eric, I'll turn it over to you. Go
As I
ahead.
told everybody, we're going to get these results as soon as they come in. Precinct 3, Town Council President, Jim Lettieri, 371, Hannah Belcher, 340. Okay, so we're getting results right now for Precinct 3. Okay, other things going on in Precinct 3. We have the at-large amounts. Kurt Millar, 351. Celeste Ribeiro Hewitt, 319. Okay. And for Precinct 3 counselor? Whoa. Wow.
And so
very
this would
close.
be this.
Precinct 3
would-
counselor. Congratulations, Joe Romano.
Okay,
Joe
what was
Romano
the-
with 349 votes to 345
oh my gosh.
for Betsy Shane. That is a
That's
close
razor thin.
race.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Wow. Okay. So I've
So
got
right now, when we declare a winner, we have to just remember that the winner is
it's unofficial.
unofficial
Right.
until the.
But I'm getting results fast and furious here.
Okay.
Library trustee, real quickly, in Precinct 3, you've got Grace Kingsbury, 272, Cynthia Hastings, 356, Gillian Teixeira, 392, and Bill Schmidt, 274.
How
I've
many
got some
was
other.
that last one?
I don't know, John.
272.
I'm moving on.
Sorry.
I've already moved on. I'm sorry. You don't. My phone's blowing up here, so I'm doing my best here to get these in.
Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're stressing me out, John. Okay.
I can check too.
Okay. Precinct 2
Two.
just came in.
There is a winner. Yes.
Yep, Precinct 2. Congratulations, Kim Dimes. 522 votes to 277 from Michael Kinlan. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's crazy. What else is happening?
We can also give you the Precinct 2 Town Council President.
Yes.
Jim Lettieri got 564 votes for Precinct 2, and Hannah Belcher got 272.
Yeah, Precinct. Did you say 564 for Jim Lettieri, 272
Correct.
for Hannah Belcher? And that is Precinct 2.
Yes.
Okay. What else do we have coming up here?
Also
The
in,
at-large.
also in
The at-large.
Precinct 2 for the at-large, Kurt Millar has got 529 votes, and that's in precinct 2 for Kurt Millar, 529 votes. Celeste Ribeiro Hewitt, 246 votes in precinct 2 for the at-large.
Okay, we have some other results coming in. Precinct 6.
Precinct 6.
Okay, Hannah Belcher with 305, Jim Lettieri 291. For council president, that's precinct 6. At large in that precinct, Kurt Millar 278, Celeste Ribeiro Hewitt 265, because that's precinct 6. And then there's no precinct race in that for precinct 6. Okay, I don't know. We've got some other ones coming in too.
Yes, hold on.
That's okay. We can focus primarily on the at-large and the president.
Okay.
They're all flying in at the same time, and then we can go back to the others.
All right, I got precinct 5 in.
Okay.
Or it's coming in, sorry. Like I told you, I'm giving in the results as soon as we get them. I mean, literally as soon as we get them. Okay, precinct 5. Mm-hmm. This is a big precinct, right, Christian?
Yes, there is. Joe Aiello is running against the incumbent against Paul Reardon.
So in precinct 5, and there's a lot of votes in that precinct.
Yes, there are.
533 for Jim Lettieri, 397 for Hannah Belcher. At large, Kurt Millar, 506, Celeste Ribeiro Hewitt, 384.
Mm-hmm. And I believe we can also call the town council precinct 5 for Paul Reardon, as he has 502 votes and Joe Aiello got 391. So
yes.
Do you want to ring that bell? Or?
Oh yeah, I will. Yeah, we got to ring the bell. We got a declared winner there in precinct 5, and we will get to the questions later. Our next task is housing authority and library, but we're still sifting through the results that we have. John, did you keep track of I think we've got precinct 2 in, precinct 3,
yeah, so
5, and 6.
Right. So, and it's interesting because it is the winners of those areas are all of the same slate.
Yes, that is a trend.
Correct.
That is correct.
Right.
And
so they're all of the same slate.
So the ones that are outstanding, right, are precinct 1, yes, which is not contested for counselor, mm-hmm, and then in precinct 4, which there's no counselor up. So right, if we're doing our math, it's looking like all the anti-3A candidates have won.
That's
this evening.
What it seems to be. I'm just doing some totaling. So again, if we want to just quickly run through the town council president. Oh,
I got precinct 1.
We have precinct 1. Okay.
It's coming in right now.
Okay.
Sorry,
No,
maybe
ahead.
I jumped the gun a little bit. No, it's coming in. What is going on here with this?
What do you see? So precinct 1, town council I believe it's still printing. So right now there's an error in precinct 1. We just have zeros.
But we just got to get the right slip.
So once we get the right slip in, that might still be the one that they put out at first.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Right now it is. There were more than 0 voters. At least one person did vote in precinct 1. I can tell you that. But if we want to maybe run through what we have so far, so for council president in precinct, let's see, town council president. Hold on. So town council president in precinct 5, Jim Lettieri got 533 votes. And Hannah Belcher got 397. And again, that's precinct 5. Jim Lettieri, 533. Hannah Belcher, 397. Precinct 2, town council president. Jim Lettieri got 564. Hannah Belcher got 272. And again, that's in precinct 2. Jim Lettieri, 564 votes. And Hannah Belcher, 272 votes. Now, let me see if we have any other.
So I just got an update on precinct 4. They're just having a problem printing the tape. So, but listen, that's my precinct. I'm not saying it's not important, but in terms of contested races, the other precincts we were looking at, right? Precincts 2, 3, 5, and 6.
Yeah, so 2 and 5.
No, not 6.
Not six,
right.
correct.
Six was so 6 in precinct 6. Hannah Belcher carried precinct 6.
Yes.
But so far in precinct 3, 2, 3, 5 have all been carried by incumbent Lettieri.
Correct. I'm going to try and pull up the third precinct 3 again just to make sure of that.
And it looks like, I know that we're still waiting for 2 more precincts to come in, and we wouldn't, but in the at-large, it looks like that Kurt Millar has carried all 4 of those that have come in thus far.
Correct.
3.
Yes, we can give a rundown again. I just want to get everyone up to date. I was going to try and do each office by precinct. So we have 2. Right now I'm going through president. Let me see.
And I just want to, while you guys are doing that, I just wanted to shout out, let candidates know, if you did want to pup down, you're more than welcome to pup down to the show, as long as we're still on. I don't know how long we'll be on. We may not be on that much longer. We'll see. But if we're still on and you wanted to pup down, feel free to do so.
Right, we just have 2 precincts outstanding at this moment, John.
Right.
And if we're looking at numbers, unless those precincts vote
Give a real, yes,
drastically
significant
different,
make up for the votes that have not been won in precincts 2, 1, 5, and 3. Then
Right.
it's looking like right now we have an idea of who has won again.
So
we
while
can
we're
make a
waiting, you have-
projection. At this point, I think it's safe to say Jim Lettieri is going to be
Jim Lettieri
reelected
has
as
been
council president.
Reelected, and again, right now Kurt Millar is in the lead. However, we'll have to see how that pans out with the other precincts.
But it's a fairly comfortable lead at this moment. For
is- do you-
councilor at
I
large
know
is
you
about
guys-
60 to 40%.
Okay, that's what I was
And
curious
again,
about
like Christian's
with
saying,
Millar's.
those other 2 precincts, I mean, but even if they did come in, it would have to be like a dramatic shift
Sure.
from what we're
Sure.
seeing here. And I will say this to Council President Lettieri, this is actually somewhat historic. He is the first council president in town history to be elected 3 times. It's never happened before. We've
He was
had.
also the first one to run unopposed.
That's true. 2 years ago, he
Yes,
ran
yes.
unopposed. This year, but in the past, we've had council presidents serve 2 terms, and
Yes.
usually after that second term, they're they're done, and they're just kind of like peace out. Whereas
Okay, we have precinct 4 in for town council president. In precinct 4, Jim Lettieri has got 312 votes, and Hannah Belcher 173. And again, that is precinct 4. Jim Lettieri 312, Hannah Belcher 173. I can also give you the at-large.
Yep.
For precinct 4, Kurt Millar 261 votes, and Celeste Rivera Hewitt 180 votes. And again, that is in precinct 4.
Well, now I think we can officially, I know we're waiting for precinct 1, but we can officially,
there's
declare.
not. I don't think there's enough votes
no, I mean,
left
when you
out there.
carry, out of the 5 precincts that have come in, you've carried 4 out of 5 on the president, and then at large, one of the candidates has carried 5 out of 5. So I would say, and wide margins in 2 and 5. So.
Yes. Five, Christian, was pretty. Can do you have those numbers?
Yes,
Because
so-
that was a pretty. Well, actually, precinct 4 was real. If we look at percentages,
Actually,
actually,
Precinct 4 was pretty significant
So
as well,
precinct-
312 to 173.
Yeah, so precinct 4 was 312 to 173, Jim Lettieri to Hannah Belcher. Precinct 5 was 533 to 397, Jim Lettieri to Hannah Belcher.
And precinct 2 was 564 to 272. So, yeah, those are.
if we look at just the percentages, so Jim Lettieri, for the precincts that we have in right now, we're just waiting on precinct 1. So I'm not sure what's
Yeah.
happening with precinct
Yes.
1. So Jim Lettieri carried precinct 2 by a very large margin. That's his precinct, right?
That is his home precinct. That's
Yeah,
where
that is his
prior
precinct.
to becoming the town council president, he was the precinct 2 town councilor.
So he did about close to 68% to about 67.5% to 32.5% in precinct 2. That was the largest margin there, percentage-wise. And then precinct 4 was also a very large margin of 64% to 36%. But then precinct 5, where there's a lot of votes, 930 votes
Wow.
looks like, maybe even a little bit more, because we're not counting blanks, but
Sure.
930 votes cast. And Jim Lettieri captured 57%
Yes.
to 43. So that's pretty significant.
While we're waiting for the others, while we're waiting, do we have the ballot questions, or can we go through
We're-
the
John,
library trustees?
we're-
Do we have any of that?
We're going to try to
information,
do
or-
that. We're just sifting through tons of information
Okay.
here. Christian, do you want us? We can try to go through the housing authority.
Yeah, so it looks, let me see, hold on. It looks right now for housing authority, I can't tell which precinct this is if you, hold on. Okay, so for precinct 5, housing authority, it looks like Peter Gill got 618 votes and Aaron Barcelos got 234, and that's precinct 5
Okay.
housing authority.
That's precinct 5.
Yes.
That's a huge margin
That is a,
to overcome
right.
in the rest of the community.
So if that's any indication, right, for housing authority,
Right.
that looks like Peter Gill will be reelected.
Yes, it does.
I'm looking at precinct 4 for housing authority, 341 for Peter Gill, 105 for Aaron Bussell. So
Okay.
it's not close, really.
Okay. And I'm seeing, I do have another housing authority figure, I just don't see what precinct it is. I believe for precinct, oh no, hold on, I don't, never mind, scratch that.
And we might be getting precinct 1 in,
I believe we are.
and that's the last one that we're
Right.
waiting
And
on.
then after that, we'll see if we can put together the other races before we leave.
Let's see.
Oh, nothing better than just dead air time.
Well, John, that's where
I mean, Eric, you used to teach me that, right? We can't have all that dead air time here.
All right, John, I don't know what to tell you. We're trying to
I
get.
understand.
I'm trying. I don't know what's going on in precinct 1. All right?
That's okay.
that
You're
is
doing
it.
a great job on it. So it looks like, I mean, as
Okay, we are
sit
we
here-
are getting
John,
precinct 1 in as we speak.
Here we go, breaking.
Okay, Eric, would you like to take it away? Because
Yes, Jim Lettieri in precinct 1, 459 to Hannah Belcher, 287.
Okay.
And let me see. I can give you the housing authority for precinct 1. It looks like it is 554 votes for Peter Gill in precinct 1 housing authority to Aaron Barcelos, 199.
And we have the at-large amounts for
okay.
precinct 1.
Okay, so for
And
precinct 1.
that seems to be the same trend as
Okay.
throughout town. Kurt Millar, 436 to 267 for Celeste Rivera Hewitt.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we know, so as we look at that, Jim Lettieri has been reelected as council president.
He has.
By
By sizable margin.
Yes. So
By quite sizable margin.
we had, it looks like Kurt Millar is going to be elected as the next councilor at large.
By a
Councilor
very
at large.
It is
similar.
a similar margin. The dispersion, the votes are their numbers are quite similar. Jim's
Yes.
and Kurt's. And then
I would say Peter Gill is going to, I mean,
Yes.
right now we're
Looks like
still, Peter
Peter
Gill
Gill has-
will be reelected as on the housing authority. And let's just review the precincts. So in precinct
So
2,
in precinct 2, Kimberly Dimes has been elected with 522 votes. Michael Kinlan 200 to 277.
precinct 3,
Precinct 3, it is very close, although, and I assume, I'm not going to make any assumptions, or I'll predict that there will probably be a recount, but right now, Joseph Romano is the apparent winner with 349 votes to Betsy Shane's 345. Again, that's precinct 3. And then in precinct 5, it looks like Joe Aiello has been defeated with Paul Reardon earning 502 votes and Joe Aiello getting 391. So it looks like we can
Okay.
officially say that obviously Pat Costigan in Precinct 1 has been re-elected. Kim Dimes has been elected for 2. Joe Romano for Precinct 3. Paul Reardon for Precinct 5. And then it looks like right now Jim Lettieri will be re-elected as the next council president, and Kurt Millar as the councilor at large, and Peter Gill as housing authority.
Right, so we're looking at, in Precinct 3, a very narrow race there with Joe Romano, 349.
Right, it's 4
Betsy
votes.
Shane, 345, right? And there was one write-in.
Yes.
So who knows what that is about. So even if that were to be, I don't know.
That is, it's going to probably, again,
It
go to
should
a
hold
recount,
up.
But yeah,
And it looks like they had a total of 695 votes in Precinct 3 with 25 blank votes.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
perhaps they might look at those to see if there was
exactly.
any
Yes,
indicator.
discrepancies are where they could see. Right.
Right. But other than that, every other precinct is fairly decisive.
Yes. Right. Looks like there's a winner, a winner for certain in every other precinct.
Okay.
And we have the answer to our question because every anti-3A candidate won, including on the Housing Authority.
Yes. Yes, because it was again the kind of anti-3A slate was Jim Lettieri for council president, Kurt Millar for councilor at large, Pat Costigan, who was uncontested for Precinct 1, Kim Dimes for Precinct 2, Joe Romano for Precinct 3, and Paul Reardon for Precinct 5, and then I guess the pro-3A side, if you want to call it that, as it's been referred to, or the candidates that had supported compliance would be Hannah Belcher for president, Celeste Rivera-Hewitt for at-large. There was nobody else running in Precinct 1, Mike Kinlan for Precinct 2, Betsy Shane for Precinct 3, and again, that is still up in the air, I guess, and Precinct 5, Joe Aiello. So, and again, at large, Peter Gill was an anti-3A candidate for Housing Authority. And he's been reelected.
Just to give everybody a quick update, we will get the questions at some point. We'll get to those. We had a flurry of data coming in here on the, as we said at the outset, there were a lot of races this year, and we've got through all of the precincts, the council president, councilor at large, school committee. We know those 3 candidates. Congrats, have been elected. No opposition.
Right.
But we will get to those.
Yes, we were.
It's going to take us a little while to tally that
we're
up.
going to try and tally up the school committee, and then.
Well, the library trustees is the one that really
We're-
needs to be tallied up
yeah.
because that's a race, whereas the school committee is not a.
The next thing we're going to try
It's
to
a race,
announce is
but
the
not-
library trustees. Right,
Right.
that's what we're focusing on, John. But before we get to the library trustees, hold on, because there's 4 candidates with 3 positions, and there's not a big margin between everyone. So we need to go through that. We have with
Joining us in the studio is the newly re-elected town council president, Jim Lettieri.
Oh, I'm sure your phone's blowing
Yes,
up.
I can.
Excuse me 1 second, this is Hannah.
Oh,
He's gotta
sure,
get a
yeah.
microphone.
All right. So we'll come back to Jim in a minute, but it's obviously still very recent.
Yes.
What we're seeing
Right.
here, within the last half hour.
Yes. Less for certain. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is really just all coming in. Yes, now, really.
But it's a pretty seismic shift, I think. I mean, I don't know. What do I know? Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's a seismic shift or it's very, well, I'll say decisive is what.
Well, it's a decisive decision in the direction that the population of Winthrop has chosen to go into. And so that, in my opinion, tonight, that takes, that explains the direction that the town council will move into in regards to that issue. Now the question remains is are we still a divided town, and how does the council, alleviate that and turn us to come together?
Well, we have the
Because-
person to answer that question right now, John.
Exactly. And I know that Mr. Lettieri is coming on. and
Congratulations,
I-
Jim.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So to John's
Jim-
point,
Yes, John.
So, Jim, I can't see you, but congratulations on your reelection. As you know, you heard earlier that Eric said you're the first town council president to be elected to 3 terms. So, congratulations. And as you know, 2 years ago, you ran unopposed. Congratulations on your appointment tonight. And so, as you just kind of heard, you also saw what's coming on board with the council, with you. So I guess that was my question: is how do we begin to the healing process for this beautiful, wonderful community?
Well, thank you. And I haven't seen all the results yet, to be 100% honest with you, but people talk about a split in the town, and from what I've seen, I don't see that split. I see a very loud minority of the town that is very boisterous in their opinions, and that's fantastic, right? Everybody needs to have separate opinions. I don't think it's, when I think of a split, I think it's 50-50, 50-50, 50-50. This kind of proves it's not 50-50. The town has made a decision in the direction it wants to go. I think all of us are so proud of this town, and we have such incredible people in every part of it, whether it's small business, whether it's just community members, kids, our seniors. It's just a fantastic community, and we're doing a lot of great things, and I think the people realize that, and I think the people want to keep going on this path. I don't think it's a split in the town. I think the town is a vast majority of people are appreciative of the work we're doing and appreciative of the path we're going on. So I don't see it as a split, and I've said that in the debate, I've said it in other forums. I just think, it's a time in history, I guess, and our town isn't any different than any place else where more people, the voices are louder, and they're louder on both sides. But I think, this is a clear indication of the direction that this town wants to go in. And again, I'm so appreciative of the people that went out. I don't know the exact number of turnout, but it was a really good, when you're looking at percentage, we have, 14,000 and change registered voters, and we had over 4,000 voted today, or 4,300. That's got to be, approaching 30, 35, 36%.
That's more than voted 2 years ago, more than in 2023.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Well, what I think is really impressive is I believe it's more than voted 6 months ago.
Yeah.
When we had, when you're affecting people's pocketbooks, and it's amazing, again, what these citizens did to pass that debt exclusion for the fire station and to support our schools. That was amazing, and I believe the numbers there were around 4,200, and that's having a serious impact on people's wallets. This today was people. It was all about people and all about the future, and people came out in droves, I think, which, it was a windy day, it was a cool day, the voting location was a vast change from what we've had it because of the new firehouse and such. So I just applaud the residents of Winthrop. We had some really good candidates. The campaigns, got contentious at a point, and I respect that. And I want to say cooler heads prevailed all around. But I just think this is a clear message that the town is sending to us, and I think we have to be cognizant of that. We have to understand it, learn from it, and keep going.
Thank you, Jim, for that. Those comments, much appreciated. Eric or Christian, do you have any questions for Jim? Council President?
More so just a reflection that I would say I think we've seen kind of the maybe division, what you want to call it. There has been a lot of vitriol on multiple sides. And again, that's what this election basically came to check, was which side or what do you agree and what do you want to see for the town. And again, regardless of how you voted what you saw or what you see fit to be the best for Winthrop. And I guess that's what happened tonight because everyone has a voice.
Jim, I want to ask you, what was the campaign like?
Well, again, I've been doing this for a while now, and I think my kids were 2 and 4. I say it all the time when I started, and now they're 25 and 27, and it was a different campaign in every aspect.
Okay, how so?
I mean, just with the internet and stuff. I mean, we've had the internet for a while now, but just it's gone to the next level of everything. The mailers have gone to the next level. The door knocking has gone to the next level. Everything's just exponent, 2 times or 3 times what it's been in the past. But I think this campaign was very hard. My opponent worked her butt off, and I respect that. And I just had a conversation with Hannah and thanked her for the campaign and told her point blank that she worked her butt off and she should be extremely proud of herself for doing that. So it's still a much different campaign than I've been involved with in the past. Again, I have to say before I even go any further, I have to thank Representative Turco for really stepping up, and he loves this town just as much as I love this town, and he was there for us every step of the way. And he gave of his time, he gave his effort, he gave his wisdom, and I'm so appreciative of that. So I did want to just thank him. But it's definitely been a different campaign than any I've seen in the past. And it seemed like, and again, I don't know all the results, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but it seems like, you know, good, bad, indifferent, it was like block voting in a lot of ways.
Well, that's what we're
So we
seeing.
had kind
It
of
was
just
very clear. It was very clear it was block
kind
voting.
of discussed
There was no question about that.
we had like the, I really have to say, pro 3A and anti 3A candidate slates.
Yeah.
And it seems that in every way, in every precinct, and then for the at-large seats, council president, councilor at-large, and housing authority, the anti 3A or against 3A candidates won
It was a sweep.
by and large, yes.
Well, again, and I have to say, I thanked Representative Turco, and if I don't thank my wife, I'll kill myself because, again, it's been a long time running these elections, and she was more active in this one than she's ever been, and I think she realized the importance of the town for this, and as I felt, it was incredibly important for our town to continue moving forward. So, you know, Winthrop is very proud of Winthrop. Winthrop is an inclusive community. It's not unwelcoming to anybody, but we like our town, and we hope that everybody coming in enjoys the amenities that we have, and that quaintness that we have, and the camaraderie that we have, and the closeness that we have. We just want that to continue, and we just want to be in control of our own destiny. We're doing a great job. We develop, but we develop responsibly, and that's fine. We just want to be in control and remain in control of our destiny, and I think this vote tells us that the citizens agree with that.
Well, Mr. Lettieri, thank you for coming on board. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing how you will take this council and continue on with the work that you have done. I know that we talked about it tonight. You must be very proud to see that middle school coming down now, because that means the fire station is going to be soon be going up. So you've got a lot of, and I know that at the debate you had stated that that was a very proud moment for you, and I certainly understand that.
Yeah,
So-
I think it's a proud
so
moment
once
for all
again,
the rest.
congratulations.
Thank you
Right.
so much, John.
So-
And it is. The firehouse is going to be fantastic. And, you know, we see the fence around it now. We see the asbestos abatement being done now over the next 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And then you'll physically see the building coming down. And early next year, late spring, you'll start to see shovels in the ground. And that's just a fantastic moment. And, you know, our public safety officers are fantastic, fire and police. And, you know, police, we haven't forgot about them either, and we have to make sure that they're taken care of as well. But it's a really proud moment to have that fire station going up. And again, we know, and John, you know how I feel about education, and to see the schools, you know, getting the support from the community as they always have. We're so proud of our citizens for doing that. And our school system under Lisa, our superintendent, is continuing to show progress every year. We just keep going and going and going. You know, we're like the tortoise. We might not be the hare, the first one to finish the race, but we just keep moving in a positive direction. And that started with your leadership and as superintendent, John, and now has continued with Lisa. So thank you for all you've done for this town.
Thank you, appreciate that. But yes, I'm happy to see Winthrop moving in the direction you're doing. You know, people are working hard. I know the schools are working hard, and I know that they have some unique things happening currently right now with negotiations and all of that. But I'm sure that you will all be involved with that as we continue to pursue. So, and you have 3 new elected school committee members tonight coming on board too. So it's going to be some exciting times for Winthrop as you move forward.
So, Jim, before you go, because I know I'm sure
That's
you're
okay.
dying to celebrate, any final words to just the voters, the citizens of
Well,
Winthrop?
as I've said before, just thank you so much. I'm so appreciative, and I do put in the work, and I enjoy the work. I love the work. But it's worth it because this town is just so special. And again, I don't have all the results, but if you could just run by me where we stand right now.
Yes.
As far as I believe Kurt has won.
It looks.
And Kurt is just a tremendous man. He is just straightforward, head up, and just always looking for ways for us to be more fiscally responsible. This is his third time running for election, and he pulled this off, and an incredible effort. He's just such a nice man, and Winthrop is so lucky to have him now. And I believe Kim did.
Yes.
Kim,
So right now,
we can, so to go, before we go on,
Okay.
Councillor Large, so you know, and for our viewers that are just joining us, Kurt Millar wins Councillor at Large by approximately 59% to 41%.
Okay.
So
and precinct 2.
and so precinct 2, Kim Dimes won with 522 votes, and Mike Hinlin 277.
I'll give you the percentage on
and
that.
let me just say that too. Kim is just another incredible asset to our town. She serves as the chairperson right now on the conservation. She's done such a great job, and we're so lucky to have her as well. And I know Pat was unopposed in precinct 1, but I thank him for sticking it out, putting his name on that ballot again. Anybody who puts their name on the ballot again, people have to appreciate the effort because there is an effort involved, even if you're running unopposed. So congratulations to Pat. Precinct 5?
Precinct 5, we could jump to. Looks like Paul Reardon has won 502 votes to Joe Aiello's 391.
Right, and again, thank you, Paul, for stepping up there. That's just an incredible vote of confidence in Precinct 5. I thank the voters in Precinct 5. Again, a really hotly contested precinct, and I believe that usually leads the count in vote total. I don't know if it did this year or not. But
It did.
again,
Right. Precinct 3 was the closest race,
Right.
and it's right now it's a 4-vote
Yes. So right now
difference.
in precinct 3,
and
Joe
right.
Romano has 349 votes to Betsy Shane's 345.
yeah, and
Yes.
Joe, you have a young kid with just the knowledge. He's very smart, very bright young man. Bentley University student, which I appreciate, and I'm sure Eric also appreciates.
Well, Joe's a student of mine.
Oh, he is.
I teach accounting. He's an accountant. Yeah.
Wow.
I've had Joe in class. He's
Wow.
very bright.
And Joe wasn't quite born when I was at Bentley, so that was. I don't even know if you were born when I was.
No,
at
I
Bentley,
don't
to be
know. I don't
honest
know,
with
Joe.
you, but
Well, Jim, you bring up a good
give-
point. I was trying to think earlier tonight. Was it 20 years ago we had the first election for or was that in 2006?
2005 we had the first
election under
council
the new
election.
charter.
2005.
2005. So
Yes.
it's been 20 years now of the new charter, and you were elected then for precinct 2.
Yes.
And 20 years later, you are still going. So
I'm like the Energizer Bunny. Me and my
I was just
Medicare
gonna
card
say,
are still
there's
running.
the Energizer Bunny right there. You're still going. Duracell.
No,
You could do a commercial for Duracell.
Yeah, I do. I do really appreciate Joe going up there as a young man. Worked his butt off. His family was so incredible supporting him, and they deserve a lot of the credit for that too. But again, that's a close race still. But congratulations.
Yeah, the margins in Precinct 5 was 56% to about 44%. Okay, these are rounded numbers here, just to kind of put it in context. And then we are tallying up the library trustees, okay? We're still working on it. We'll get you those results. People keep
And
asking.
do we have any tally? And do we have any tally on those questions? Because I'm
Yes.
sure you're very.
We do.
We'll get to that
in
in-
regards to if we have the council president here. I'm sure he'd like to know how those questions turned out.
And did I mention Precinct 2, the split was 65% Dimes to 35% Kinlan. So that there you have that. The amendments we have, the first one looks like it passed.
And the first one is the one about the abandonment clause.
Yeah. So that one passed.
Right.
Okay.
It looks like Amendment 2 did not pass.
And that was the
Okay.
one about the vice president,
Okay.
I believe.
So that would remain as is.
So remain as is, meaning that it's just voted by a majority of the council who anyone can
Well,
nominate.
but anybody on the council can nominate.
Anyone on the council can nominate.
As opposed
And then the question, if it did pass, which it didn't, would have just made it that the council president nominates someone to be the vice
Correct.
president.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. And how
Amendment
about number 3?
3 passed. with about a 60% to 40% split on that. So Amendment 3 is approved. What was that?
Is that I believe that is the one about the town council
The money.
and their salaries, yes.
Yes.
So that basically is just going to
Salaries.
change the way that again, there's been no change since it's in its
There's been no
inception,
change
but-
in 20 years, and the way the process was, it was just very convoluted. If the council chose to grant themselves a raise or vote themselves a raise, it would have to go on the ballot, and it wouldn't take effect until every councilor had their voice heard on the. So basically, it would give 4 years time before the raise came into effect. So it would give the citizens the chance to potentially vote out the councilors who gave themselves a raise. So this shows that every 2 years the council will have a discussion about salary, and if that discussion was favorable to a raise or an increase in their into their stipend, then it would go on the ballot, and if it was passed, then they would get the raise. And then I think questions 4 and 5 were, I assume
Yes,
they
I
passed.
assume they were
No.
very, oh, they didn't?
Amendment 4 did not pass, and Amendment 5 did not pass.
So 4 and 5 did not pass.
No.
Mm-hmm.
It was
that what
very
you said?
close.
That's-
Number 4 was, unless our numbers are off, looked like it about 2,017 no votes to 1,960 yes votes for Amendment 4. And Amendment 5 was 2,087 no and 1,889 yes. So those two were very close, but
And
as
I
of
think
now,
on those, I'll take responsibility for that, as maybe they weren't described enough. Basically, 4 and 5 were just very simple, that when we created the charter, the internet really was in its infancy. And literally, if the council had a special meeting or a planning board had a special meeting, their secretary of that board, or in our case, the council clerk, would have to hand deliver a message to each individual board
Right.
member to say there is a special meeting, and we were just trying to change it now that they would be able to do that through the internet.
Yeah, and so I think, Jim, part of that, the issue on that is it didn't read that way
Yeah.
when you were reading that question, if you're trying to figure it out. And so I think if people were confused by it, they probably just said, well, let me leave it the way it is.
just we do have people have been texting me about the library trustees. So sorry that it's we got the results in, and Christian.
Yeah, so it looks like for library trustee, yes, I think Jim, would you?
I have to run,
Jim,
but
yes, I
again,
can
I can't
imagine-
thank you guys enough,
Oh, okay,
John,
yeah.
for doing this
Yes.
so long,
Thank you, Jim.
Eric as well,
Jim has a-
and Christian, it's
some
just a pleasure to
celebration.
have you
Thank you, Jim, yes.
right.
taking
Jim,
over this at some point.
thank
I'm
you so
sure.
much for stopping by.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
Take care,
Well,
John.
I don't know. He might be running in 2 years.
That's
so you
right.
never know.
We'll see, yeah, I know.
Thank you again, guys. I appreciate
Thank you,
your
Jim.
time as
Congratulations.
always.
All right, all the best.
Thank
Jim.
you.
Congratulations.
So yes, as we were saying, we do have, it looks like the winners of the library trustee. It looks like Grace Kingsbury has been elected, Cynthia Hastings has been elected, Gillian Texera has been re-elected, and Bill Schmidt was not elected.
I think
Okay.
we
All right.
covered all of the
I
results.
think we've covered it all.
Yes, and like we said, all 3 school committee candidates ran unopposed, meaning they were all elected. Caitlin Barrows, Leslie Darcy, and Shannon Kubik. And Peter Gill was re-elected to the Housing Authority. So we want to run through the results one more time.
Sure, I can give you the final totals on the each
Sure,
position.
I mean, we can,
That would be great.
so people.
Do you want
yeah.
do you want numbers or percentages? Which do you prefer?
Percentages is probably best at this point.
Right.
And I'm assuming that WCAT is just going to run the numbers anyway. Through
Right.
Once we're
They will
done
probably
with the
keep them
show,
up,
so
yes.
they'll be able to see those.
So for council president, Jim Lettieri with 58% to 42% for Hannah Belcher.
Okay?
For councilor at large, Kurt Millar with 59% to Celeste Ribeiro Hewitt at 41%. Very similar.
That's
That was
basically the
very
same.
yeah,
Basically
yeah,
the same.
super close. I mean, we're talking not half of a percentage point difference. So that was one of the questions we had. Are we going to see one of you mentioned it, like block voting?
Yes, basically, that's like the whole ticket, kind of like the slate, like we had talked
Right.
about.
We have numbers for the school committee.
Oh, great.
Caitlin Burrows with 35. Well, we're not going to do percentages because,
Oh, yeah.
but with 2,550 votes. Okay, that was the in first. If we're gonna do first place, and then Leslie Darcy with 2,428, and then Shannon Kubik with 2,385. So they are all in there. Housing Authority, our totals are percentage-wise. It was Peter Gill with 69% to 31% for Erin Barcelos, and then Precinct 5. We had Paul Reardon with 56% to 44% for Joe Aiello. Precinct 3 is like basically 50-50 at this point. It's a 4-point vote lead for Joe Romano in Precinct 3 over Betsy Shane. And then in Precinct 2, Kim Dimes with 65% to 35% for Michael Kinlan. Precinct 1 was...
Again, Pat Costigan was unopposed, so he was reelected with 592 votes.
And then for library trustees, Kristen just mentioned those results.
Their winners were Grace Kingsbury, Cynthia Hastings, and then Gillian Texera, the incumbent, was re-elected, and Bill Schmidt was not elected because there were 3 seats.
And we just went through the questions, so I don't...
We just went through the questions, so we're good. Does anybody have any final comments?
I guess just reflecting on what we said, it did seem, for whatever reasons, if it was 3A related, if it were other, issues related, like we had kind of, at the very beginning of the program, said it kind of came down to those 2 slates, it looks like, because all the yes to 3A or the pro-3A candidates did not win. Again, we'll put a asterisk next to Precinct 3, and then the no on 3A candidates seem to have won. So it was just an interesting kind of, we had talked about, but yeah.
But also another part of the story, John, is and Jim talked about this too, the number of votes.
Right.
Okay. This was the highest election in years in terms of turnout. We're looking at close to, or maybe a little over 4,300.
Wow.
Okay.
For a local election that didn't have, as Jim pointed out, a financial
right,
question.
No overrides or anything like that, right?
Right. So that is very good. I mean, let's face it. You knew it was election season in Winthrop.
Yeah.
There were signs everywhere. And that usually builds that up as well.
Right. So that was the most it's been in years.
Yes.
in terms of turnout, which is always a good sign.
It's a good thing. More people participating.
That's a good thing. So I would just like to say thank you to everybody here at WCAT. It's a lot of work, okay, that's going on behind the scenes here at the polls. To our volunteers down there, thank you for giving up your night to do that. To everybody in the control room, to station manager Mike Cabral, and to Kurt Erickson, who's everywhere all the time, and just this is a great resource. I mean, obviously, absolutely. I feel very strongly about WCAT, but we have people who are really, these are volunteers here, right? That are. I mean, I don't know about you. I'm not getting paid, right? But we're here. I guess John is getting paid, of course, but he's not listening. All right, but yeah, we're
listening. I just got word that the override in Melrose has passed.
Oh, okay.
So that was good.
I don't know if people know your connection there, John, but.
Well, I mean, I've been, as I was the interim superintendent there when we first put one through, but it was very similar to like Winthrop in the sense that first one didn't go, the next one, when people got more information, it was helpful. But that's why you didn't hear me for a second. I just wanted to let you know.
Right.
What I would like to just say as we close, I want to echo what you had said, Eric. First of all, thank you to WCAT. Thank you, Mike Cabral. Thank you, Kurt, for all the work that you've been doing and all the people behind the scenes. And the runners that we had tonight that were able to get that information into us. It's not an easy job, and we appreciate it. I'd like to thank you both, Christian and Eric, because, everything is flying by the seat of our pants as we move along here, and so we certainly appreciate it. And more importantly, I want to thank the voters today. Thank you for going out, voting, doing, your what is your purpose, and it really is helpful. Thank you to all the candidates who chose to run. You know, it's not easy, and I've been on both sides. I've been victorious, and I have not been victorious, and so I understand that. But you have to remember that, you know, you thank you for serving, and thank you for running.
Absolutely.
I wish the newly elected folks the best as they move our town forward, and we are certainly appreciative of their work that they will begin as they move forward starting in January.
Yeah.
So, with that, if we don't have anything else to
We're
say,
done.
I'd
Yeah.
like to
Say goodnight.
sign us off. Thank you all. Thank you for joining us tonight, and have a great Thanksgiving, because that's coming up in 3 weeks. So, and have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for watching.